Hello there, my name is Ken Fenger from On Technology Partners, Technology Risk Management. Today I want to talk to you about the 3 stages of a disaster. The first stage of a disaster we're going to talk about is risk. Risk is the possibility of a bad outcome. So if somebody tells you they have a risk about winning the lottery, that's not really a risk. For it to be a risk, there has to be a bad outcome. You have to have a financial loss, you have to have a personal loss, you have to have a health loss. When you're out and you have a risk, it's important to remember you can mitigate that risk. I'm going to give you an example. You probably text. I know I've texted. If you text while you're driving, you increase the risk of an accident. The danger, the disaster you can have is not texting, it's having an accident. And we all know texting and driving increases your chance, yet many of us still do it. That is something you want to remember and think about is you can reduce the risk of a bad outcome. You cannot make it go away. But by reducing it, you have less chance of it happening. When we text, we increase the risk of disaster, of an accident, not the risk of texting. And let's talk about disaster. Disaster is a bad outcome. Once you have a disaster, it is not that you have any more risk of it. It's there. Now you have to figure out how to deal with it, how to fix it. And the last thing I want to talk about is crisis. I define crisis as the emotional response to a disaster. I'll give you an example. How many of you have ever gone out and were looking for your car and it wasn't where you thought it was? And you have a sudden sinking feeling in your stomach that it's gone. It was stolen, you lost it. It could be 2 rows over. There may not be an actual disaster, but you have an emotional effect that causes you. The problem with it is that emotional effect can cause you to delay acting on something. It can cause you to not do what you need to do. I'm going to tell you a story about my first job. I worked for Truck Stops of America. I was the network warehouse administrator. I had a problem where one of the records in that $5 million record database was corrupt. I decided, I had a great idea, I was going to use a delete command to delete through until I found the corruption and take it out. I typed delete. It said, do you want to delete? I said, yes. It went away for about a minute, and then it came back and said, all records deleted. I panicked. It was one of the worst moments in my life. I stood up slowly, and I walked over to the network administrator's office. Ironically, his name was also Ken. He looked at me and said, what's wrong? I said, I deleted everything. I'm going to be fired. This is my last day here. He laughed. He said, it's not your last day, and it's not a disaster. We have a backup. We'll be able to recover it and get you back going. I was in a panic. He wasn't. He was able to solve the problem and get us where we needed to be. And that was the day I learned how important backups were. So remember, keep your backups. But remember, it's important to keep yourself calm, and helps if you have a plan to deal with a disaster. I have a great quote that I love from JFK that says, the time to fix your roof is when the sun is shining. If you come to me after and you have ransomware or you've lost your data, the ability to get it back becomes harder. If we plan for it and we put in plans to fix it, you have less risk of a disaster and better ways to come through the disaster when they happen. If you'd like to learn more about disaster recovery and risk management, join us at www.ontechnologypartners.com and have a great day.